Hi everyone, how are you doing? It's good to have you here today. My name is Evelyn Ikandi, a psychotherapist, and I'm very happy to be with you here talking about how to cope with difficult relationships, or rather how to handle difficult relationships. It's been a very eventful week for me, of course, and my family, but I'm very grateful to be coping well. I'm coping really well, and all is well. Don't you worry. And thank you for checking on me. Thank you so much for checking on me. Yeah, so here we are talking about how to cope with a very difficult relationship. How do we handle a difficult relationship? Could be courtship, marriage, or just a dating relationship. You're going out with this lady, this man, this gentleman, and things are just tough. And what's difficult? How did you find difficult? We term a relationship difficult if it makes you feel so, you find it so hard to bear, so hard to cope with. A relationship is difficult if it makes you feel so frustrated, so disappointed, so overwhelmed all the time, full of negative emotions. This should be a very difficult relationship. So let's look at situations that make relationships difficult. 1. Your expectations. What are your expectations from this relationship you're in? Most of the time, the things that make you very uncomfortable, the things that make the relationship very difficult are from your expectations. When you met this man, this woman, what did you expect? Of course, initially there was love, and you expected to have this love affair, this cozy love affair that has no hitches, or just trouble-free, problem-free, ever-happy relationship. That's all you anticipated. Then along the way, things start popping up that disappoint you, frustrate you, annoy you, anger you, of course. Yeah, so what were your expectations? What did you expect from this person initially? Yes, you expected to be loved. Did you expect intimacy? Are you getting intimacy? Did you expect passion? Are you getting passion? Did you expect commitment? Are they committed to you? Because if you're not getting all these things, it means your expectations are not met. So you get frustrated. Other expectations could be based on your status. Maybe when you met this person, you thought that suddenly your sisters is going to change, of course, from this bachelor, from this spinster to this married person. And he's not even proposing for marriage. So you're like, am I about to get married? So you're frustrated because your expectations were a marriage relationship, a very serious relationship. But the person is not into marriage. Just want to date you and maybe look for the next person after you. What do? What could be another expectation you had in this relationship? Did you expect the person to change your status? Your financial status? Did you look at them as this jackpot you've just hit? There are people you meet and you feel like, wow, I've just met Mr. Right because he has all the money I want, all the money I needed. Only for you to realize that maybe it wasn't as he looked. Maybe that money was just loan money he was paying back. And he's now back to his normal self with no money. Yes? Did you expect him to change your social status? Like you're from this ghetto and you want him to change, to just take you to this suburb, leafy suburbs, and you want your lifestyle to change. What did you expect from this person? What did you expect? Why do you feel so disappointed? Is it because your expectations were not met? You expected a Mr. Perfect, only to realize that he's full of flaws. You expected a Miss Perfect, only to realize that she's full of flaws. Your expectations. Maybe some expectations were unrealistic. Maybe they were not realistic. You need to review them so that you assess your situation and see if you can go on or just opt out. But don't opt out before exhausting your options. Maybe review your expectations. Maybe accept the reality that what you expected is not coming forth. You expected him to marry, he's not marrying you. Accept it. Yes, you're already in the marriage and you expected him to be this guy who changes your lifestyle altogether, but you're back to where you were before you met him. You guys are struggling financially and it feels like, where did I go wrong in the first place? I thought this guy was coming to complete me, to complete my financial world. Why are we struggling financially? maybe you need to look at what expectations did you have. Did you expect him to change the situation, or did you expect to change the situation together with him? You need to review expectations. Another situation that makes our relationships very difficult is our differences. You know, when the disparities between us and our lovers are very wide, it can bring major problems. Look at differences, age differences. When there's such a wide age gap, it's a big problem. At first, it looks like our age is just but a number. Tunapendana, we love each other and nobody can come in between us. That's okay, that's your choice of love. But it's time you realize that your age difference is affecting your relationship. And of course, you can't tell the world, hey, I am suffocating in this relationship. We don't reason at the same level with my guy or with my man or with my lady. Because definitely when your age gap is so wide, your mindsets are very different. Unless all of you are willing to compromise, to understand each other and to accept each other, it can be very difficult. Just imagine a young girl who is so into these technology things, and she's with this old man that is analog and he doesn't understand why she's always on phone, on TikTok, on Instagram, on social media platforms. They will fight because the guy will not just understand. I need you to give me the attention I need. Or she'll be like, no, I'm catching up with my friends. So the age difference, the age gaps can bring a problem, can make a relationship very difficult, make it very uncomfortable. Age differences. Education difference can also bring problems in marriage, in relationship, marriage of course included. Yes, when there is a wide gap in your education difference, it's a problem. You're very educated and your partner is not educated. Unless you're willing to understand each other and to compromise for one another to come to that common ground of understanding, it can be very difficult. Remember, when you're educated, you're very open-minded. You have a lot of information at your disposal. One who is not educated, on the contrary, might be a bit narrow-minded, might not be very open-minded. So you might keep clashing all the time. Your ideologies clash. So if you're not willing to compromise and maybe just step down for this partner who is not as educated as you will strain trying to just explain yourself to this person, and you get frustrated, and of course with time it will begin to show because it will wear you out. The frustration will wear you out. Education differences can be a problem in a relationship. Yes, social status. Maybe one of the partners from a very high class background and the other is from low class, let's say. You're struggling so hard to catch up with him and or her and just be at par, but it's not easy because, of course, your background being different, your mannerisms are different, your way of doing things is different, your way of treating people is very different. So you can clash because of the social background when they are very different. And this can make a relationship very, very difficult, especially if one is not ready to just come to a common ground of understanding. Because most of these differences call for a common ground. You know, one has to come down, the other has to scale up so that you meet at a middle level, middle ground, where there's compromise and there's also the other party is also trying to upgrade. Otherwise, if none of you is willing to compromise, none of you is willing to upgrade, none of you is willing to come up to meet the other, the relationship will remain very difficult and very frustrating. Wide gaps, differences in relationships. Can also be very differences in personalities. Sometimes they say opposites attract. Yes, sometimes there's beauty in diversity when your partner is so different, a different personality from yours. So if you don't get a way of merging your personalities to just find the best out of this combination, it can also be very frustrating. Other situations that lead to difficulties in relationships are very personal, like personality issues, personality disorders. What if you have a partner who has a personality disorder like bipolar and you don't know before, way before you start courting, you don't know your partner has bipolar. Then along the way they start manifesting these symptoms of bipolar and you're like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? It can be very frustrating if you don't even understand what bipolar is in the first place. And there are many other personality disorders. There's narcissism, there's sadism, all those, right? Anyway, what we are saying is, If your partner has a personality disorder that you did not anticipate, it can be very difficult and frustrating to cope with, especially when it's embarrassing you. And you know, such disorders can be very embarrassing to you and to your people around you, to your friends and all that. Yes. But then we also didn't say that cultural differences can also bring difficulties in relationships. Imagine somebody from Africa getting into a relationship with somebody from the Western world, you know, and Zulu for that matter. One can even get culture shock going into this environment that they're not used to. That can be difficult in itself. So cultural differences also bring problems in relationships. Cultural differences, religious differences. Is a Christian getting married or in a relationship with a Muslim? Are they willing to change their religion? Is one willing to compromise? Is one willing to change for the sake of the other? Yeah, so let's get back to the personal issues, like the personality problems. Other personal issues include, you know, we're talking about personal because this has to do with the person, and maybe there's nothing much you can do about it. Personal health challenges, chronic illnesses. One of you could just suddenly get sick, a sickness you did not anticipate. What happens? Do you abandon them? You might not abandon them, but the relationship can become very difficult, especially if they're no longer functioning as they used to function previously. It can be very tough. Personal medical challenges, you know, getting chronic diseases, terminal illnesses. Personal challenges like addiction. If one of your partner, one of the two is addicted, has a substance use disorder, wow, it can be very hectic. Addiction brings down relationships. Because you expect this person to be sober, they maybe go for their drug of choice and they mess around, misuse the funds, the family funds. The budget is so disoriented in the family, and you know, relationships are hurt, of course. Addiction hurts a lot. It can really make the relationship very difficult. Other personal issues that make relationships very difficult, name them. Very personal issues. We talked about personality issues, you know. Let's look at their physical appearances. When you met this person, they look like, you know, they were this slay queen. They were slaying around. Then suddenly, the makeup isn't available. Maybe they can't afford the makeup anymore. Maybe you two are facing challenges that you can't even buy the makeup she was wearing all the time. Then you suddenly have to come to terms with the reality of who the person looks like without makeup. Can that be a challenge in a relationship? Because that's very personal. Yeah, there are very many personal issues that can make a relationship very, very difficult. Sexual dysfunction can make a relationship very difficult. The person was doing very well in bed and then suddenly, it's not working. The thing can't stand, or she's so dry, she doesn't even have the interest. Such can make a relationship very, very difficult. And you see, what makes difficulties in a relationship a bit tough is if the difficulty is long term. You know, some experiences can be short term, while others can be long term. Some tough times can just be for a while, while other tough times last longer. Are you able to stay in these tough times? Are you able to cope? What if the situation never changes? What if this partner is not willing to upgrade maybe the education to just come up and meet you at your education level? What if this person is not willing to change anything? What if they're not about to quit their addiction? They don't want to quit, it's okay with them. They haven't reached that point of wanting to change. What do you do? How do you cope with such? Because they can be so frustrating. Remember, some of these could be marriages where you've already taken vows, and to you a divorce is a no. I reached such a point in my life where I had to walk out of a marriage because I looked at my options and I was like, no, this is not what I expected. Nothing can change. I've tried my best to have it change. It's not working. I walked away. It took a lot of courage, a lot of strength. But not everybody has to walk out of their marriages. Not everybody has to walk out of their relationships. You might have the strength to cope with it. You might just need to adjust your expectations and manage them well. You know, you may also need some coping skills within you. Maybe just accepting this person the way they are. Maybe trying to inform yourself better about the situation that this person is struggling with. If it's addiction, getting to understand them better. Knowing that probably you could be the trigger of the addiction. Maybe you're the one who, there's something you do that triggers this person to do what they do. You could cope by just accepting that we are different, and the difference is just not undoable. We can't undo the differences between us. I've accepted my person for who they are. So sometimes accepting, that's when you say the serenity prayer and say, oh God, grant me the serenity to accept the things they cannot change, courage to change the things they can, and wisdom to know the difference. That serenity prayer helps me a lot. It helps me. It's my anchor. Because there are things you cannot change, you just accept them. There are things you can change, please change them. And if you need the courage, pray for the courage. Get the courage to change them for the better. If you're struggling to upgrade yourself with your education so that you catch up with your partner, get the courage to go back to school. Get the courage to just do something different. Maybe you're the reason why this person is behaving the way they are behaving. Take your time. Give it a chance. Intentionally work towards making it work. But there are times when it's just too much. You can't hold it, you can't bear it, you can't just stay in. What are these situations? One, is your life in danger? Are you endangered in any way? You feel endangered, please don't stay. If your life is in danger. Two, if your sanity is at risk, please don't stay. Are you about losing your mind in that situation, trying to cope with that difficulty? If you don't have what it takes, please walk away, darling. Walk away. Are they abusing you emotionally? Are you for example, are the differences so wide that they have brought you down and even disoriented who you really are? People don't know you for who you are anymore. Please, maybe it's time to opt out. But meanwhile, before you get the courage to walk out, take care of yourself. Self-care. Self-care really matters. How do we take care of ourselves during such difficult situations? One, do a lot of exercise. Work out. In exercising, we are told that the feel-good chemicals like endorphin are released, and they also somehow diminish the stress chemicals like cortisol. Work out, exercise. Do what you love doing most, your hobby, Listen to music. Soothing music. Dance around, go dancing. Do what you enjoy doing. Take a walk. Take a walk. Do some meditation. Apply some relaxation techniques. Breathe in deeply, breathe out for a number of times until you feel relaxed. Try to visualize, close your eyes, see yourself in a better situation than you are today. These are relaxation techniques you can use during this hard time. They've worked for me very well, especially the past few weeks. I've coped. Then also learn to face uncertainty. Leave room for uncertainty. You just need to leave room for uncertainty because things happen that you didn't plan for. In whatever situation you're going through, that difficult relationship, leave room for uncertainty. Some of us may be finding it hard because we did not leave room for uncertainty. We were so fixed-minded. We only expected things to work for our good. We didn't expect that there were going to be hard times. Yeah. And please, you don't have to quit that marriage. Sometimes looking back, I realize I shouldn't have left that man. I should have stayed there longer. For example, if the person you're going out with is just unfaithful, check if they are remorseful. Maybe it was just a temptation they fell into. You could forgive them and have them back and help them work on that weakness. Or maybe also upgrade yourself. Maybe there's something that you did that contributed to the unfaithfulness. So hang on in there. Don't give up on your partner. Hang on, darling. Don't give up on your partner. until you've exhausted all your options. Sometimes look for a mediator, someone to just mediate the process. Yes, and don't give up on your relationship. Don't give up on your relationship unless it's just life-threatening. Thank you. Thank you.